Hi, my name is Darren Liu. I'm the FastTrack Solution Architect Manager responsible for the Dynamics 365 business in Asia, focusing on customer engagement applications. In the previous session, you have been introduced to the Success by Design framework. So in this session, we're going to cover the FastTrack engagement model and project governance. So you know how to collaborate with the FastTrack team throughout the engagement? If you have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat window. Our team is here to answer any questions you might have. So let's get started. Let's talk through the FastTrack engagement model. For the customers who purchase $300,000 or more in Dynamics 365 license, they qualify for the Microsoft-led FastTrack program, which on the left side of the slide. It's a three-way collaboration between the FastTrack solution architect, the customer implementation team, and the partner implementation team. The FastTrack solution architect is the designated architect assigned to work with you throughout the project. He or she will conduct the Success by Design workshops, prepare the findings and recommendations to share with you and the customer. Also, he or she will be a point of contact when any architecture issues arise and requires a discussion. The FastTrack architect will also be your conduit to the product group when the discussion is needed with the product program manager on the feature feedback, or you are trying to understand the future roadmap of a specific feature that helps with your solution. For the customers who purchase between $100,000 and $300,000 in Dynamics 365 license, they qualify for the partner-led FastTrack program, which is on the right-hand side of the slide. It is also a three-way collaboration, but it's a little bit different. We would like you to conduct the Success by Design workshop in this case with the customer. Our FastTrack program manager, who works for the FastTrack solution architect, will be working with you and your team so you can execute the workshop successfully with the customer, and he will also provide guidance and support in preparing the findings and recommendations for your customer. When you are presenting the workshop outcome result to the customer, the FastTrack solution architect will join you in the outcome presentation to the customer and also acknowledging the findings and recommendations that you put together in front of the customer, so the customer knows that Microsoft is actually behind these findings and recommendations. Also, we're going to be there to answer any questions the customer might have throughout the entire meeting. Anytime an escalation happens, FastTrack solution architect can engage directly to mitigate escalations with you and the customer. So the customer is going to be feeling the comfort that the Microsoft is actually behind the implementation to make them successful. We will go into more details in this engagement model later in this session. And once again, the FastTrack team is part of the product group. Similar to the Microsoft-led FastTrack program, the FastTrack solution architect is the bridge, to the program managers who are actually building the product. So you can directly provide the feedback as well as, understand what's going to be the roadmap for our products in the coming, releases. Before we go further on talking about engagement model, let's walk through some of the common terms used throughout this training. We have different milestones and touchpoints throughout the project. A project usually organized in different phases. Each of the project phase is very important. And in each of the phase, our team can help in providing guidance on the different architecture challenges through the format of the workshops and reviews. The FastTrack workshops will consolidate the different topics in a very structured manner to help you to drive the discussion with your customer and to get agreement with the customer on the best way forward. The workshops were thus designed to include all the relevant topics and common pitfalls, providing the key directions and guidance for a successful implementation. The workshop helps us to gather the information to identify risks. We often do architecture reviews throughout the project to identify issues. The reviews will create a level of comfort for all the stakeholders towards a successful implementation. We will work with you to find a repeatable way to run these reviews, and we find these reviews will improve the quality of the overall delivery and the success of your project. Collaborating with FastTrack is easy. Our collaboration is through discussions and documentation. We will bring all relevant architecture topics to a discussion when we have the workshops and reviews. We will share our experiences and the best practice on other implementations we have done since we dealt with many complex global engagements. After our discussion, we document our findings and provide our recommendations. We share with you and the customer. Having good documentation helps with our collaboration to better understanding the solution and the implementation approach. The right level of documentation also helps in promoting an understanding of the solution and the implementation approach, providing the clarity to the different stakeholders and team members across the project. Success by Design is a framework for all of us proactively identify risks and issues. We call the risk proactively and early on. The goal is not to point out what you have done wrong. The goal is to surface any of the risks that we have learned together so you and team can have enough time to address those risks before the actual go live. We are here to help you. Therefore, we are happy to provide our inputs and strategies to mitigate those risks and issues. The overall goal here is for us to collaborate. We would like to collaborate with you and your team and also collaborate with our customer. Please be open to our team and be transparent to our team, and we will do the same. We are not an auditor, and also we are not here to police your work. We're here to help and support you. Please treat us as your extended team from Microsoft, from the product group to help our customers to have a successful project. Working with FastTrack. Let's get into this area. I want to remind all of you again, Success by Design is not a methodology. It is a framework. It is an approach. It should work well with all methodologies. You're already doing workshops with your customer, covering some of the topics in your meetings and workshops. We're here to provide you a framework to help you organize your workshop with your customer so it can be more efficient and more structured. We would like to work with you on your projects. If you know the project qualifies for FastTrack service, please submit your nomination to provide us the early visibility on that project. In some of the strategic accounts, we would like to partner with you to land the engagement too. FastTrack engage throughout the implementation. We will disengage after your customer is live. This is not bound to a specific duration, since some project could last for a few months and some project could last for more than a year or 2 years. This is a sample FastTrack engagement plan for a 6-month project cycle. You are in the FastTrack training right now. We are offering FastTrack training monthly in Americas, EMEA, and APAC. Please encourage your project team to attend this training because this is one of the requirements to fulfill for FastTrack to work with you on an engagement. So let's take a look at the different activities in our engagement. To start the project, we would like to have a kickoff with your project team so we can learn about the project, understand the key context, the different ways for us to collaborate, and more. Then we hope to join you on the customer kickoff. If the partner-led FastTracks between $100,000 and $300,000 projects, we will join the customer kickoff for some of the key and strategic accounts or on a needed basis. So for the Microsoft FastTrack $300,000 plus projects, the FastTrack Solution Architect will lead the Solution Blueprint Workshop, Implementation Workshops, and Go Live Workshop. For the partner-led FastTrack $100,000 to $300,000 projects, we would like you to conduct the Success by Design workshops. The FastTrack Solution Architect Manager, the FastTrack Solution Architect will lead the Solution Blueprint Outcome Reviews, Go Live Readiness Outcome Reviews, and Selected Implementation Workshop Reviews. The FastTrack Program Manager will be there providing you assistance and support if you need help in executing the Success by Design workshops. When the project is live, we will close the project by doing a graduation workshop so we can celebrate together at the end. So let us take a look at these workshops in a little bit more detail. The FastTrack Success by Design training is a FastTrack-led activity. It is a training to introduce the Success by Design framework and to explain the FastTrack engagement model. We would like to encourage all of your team members to complete this virtual training and take the knowledge check to claim credit for completion of the training. Since this is one of the requirements for FastTrack to engage with you on your project. Partner Project Kickoff Meeting is a FastTrack-led activity. 30 minutes via Teams at the beginning of the project. The purpose of this meeting is to introduce the FastTrack program, get to know the key players from your team, from the customer, talk about the project scope, timeline, roles and responsibilities, any logistics, and collaboration approach. Also, for the partner-led FastTrack program, we will onboard you to the portal so you can update your projects, leverage the knowledge base in the tool to support your projects moving forward. The monthly project sync-up call is also led by FastTrack. It's a 30-minute call via Teams. It is for the FastTrack Solution Architect to review the project health, risks, and issues where we see areas did not have information during our workshops or reviews. If you have multiple projects working with us, we would like to take the opportunity to establish a closer collaboration with your team so we can talk about the different projects in a single monthly sync to be more efficient. Also, we could use this monthly cadence to discuss project timelines, pipelines, further incorporate Success by Design into a delivery methodology, potential escalations, and more. If there's not much to update each other, we can always cancel this monthly sync cadence for that month. Solution Blueprint Workshop, Solution Blueprint Outcome Review, Go Live Readiness Workshop, and Go Live Readiness Outcome Review are the key Success by Design activities in this framework. Later in this training, we will cover these workshops in more details. But let's take a look at the partner-led FastTrack program engagement model in detail. How are we collaborating with you and the customer? Since we are enabling your team to drive the Success by Design workshops, we would like you to conduct the workshops with the customer. The customer has to provide your team the prerequisite materials, collaborate with your team on the workshops, and when you are done with the workshops, you are going to prepare the findings and the recommendations document. Lastly, you're going to actually schedule the meeting with a customer to review the outcomes. The differences between the partner-led and the Microsoft-led FastTrack program is that you as the partner to conduct the workshops. To provide our support, our FastTrack program manager can help if the project team has any questions in this execution process on the Success by Design workshops. And they could also provide guidance when you are preparing the findings and recommendation document. After the document is prepared, the FastTrack Solution Architect will be scheduling an outcome review meeting with you and team to talk about the findings, discuss the gaps and risks, and collaboratively agree on the go-forward plan before we sharing the findings and recommendations for that workshop with the customer. When you are meeting with the customer to talk about the outcomes, the FastTrack Solution Architect will be in the same meeting to support you and to answer any questions that the customer might have, and also to acknowledge the documented findings and recommendations you have done in front of the customer. So the customer knows that you are partnering with Microsoft and Microsoft is behind the implementation for their success. Lastly, you are also having the responsibility for tracking the risks, issues in our portal related to the project. Now, let's take a look at the Microsoft-led FastTrack program. It is quite simple. Before the workshop, the FastTrack Solution Architect gathers the prerequisite materials from you, so please share the materials with us. Then the FastTrack Solution Architect will schedule the workshop and then conduct the workshop with you and the customer. After the workshop, the Solution Architect will prepare the findings and recommendations document, review with you to get your feedbacks, and lastly, present the workshop outcome to the customer. Even though the workshop is led by the FastTrack Solution Architect, we would like to partner closely with you and team. When we complete our findings and recommendations, we would like to share with you ahead of time to get your feedbacks before we sharing it with the customer. Any risks and issues identified, we would like to get your inputs and determine a go-forward plan before we present to the customer. This way, you have time to react and not surprised on any of the risks that we raise in front of the customer. Again, we are looking to collaborate with you. Once again, it is important for us to be in sync before we go to the customer to avoid any conflicts. Therefore, please prioritize the review of our findings and recommendations document when we ask for your inputs and feedbacks. For the implementation workshops, the FastTrack Solution Architect will lead and conduct the workshops with you and the customer in the Microsoft-led FastTrack program. For the partner-led FastTrack program, we are sharing the workshop materials with you. The process is the same, where you will execute the workshop and FastTrack team will support you and provide you the guidance as we discussed earlier. After the initial solution blueprint outcome review, if the FastTrack Solution Architect identified the implementations workshops as the follow-ups, please execute the implementation workshops and our FastTrack Program Manager will support you on the execution. Later in this training, we will go into each of the implementation workshops more in detail. Hopefully, all makes sense up until this point. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat window and our team's here answering it for you. Now, you understand how to collaborate with FastTrack. Let's move on to take a look at the processes. Project onboarding. To get your project onboarded to FastTrack, first, you need to submit a nomination. If you are working with a Microsoft account team, they can submit the nomination on your behalf as well. Once the nomination gets into our system will validate and check to ensure it meets the FastTrack engagement criteria. If your project is eligible for our engagement, you will receive a qualification confirmation from us. If the project qualifies for our support, for the Microsoft-led FastTrack program, the FastTrack Solution Architect will be reaching out to you and team to start the FastTrack engagement. For the $100,000 to $300,000 partner-led FastTrack program, our FastTrack Program Manager will be reaching out to you to schedule a kickoff meeting, help you and team understand the engagement model, then onboard you to our portal so we can have the information to start the engagement. It's pretty straightforward. Every project has escalations. However, having the clarity on the process of escalating will help all of us. For any project-related escalations, usually you, as the primary solution integrator, you will have to manage the project-related escalations. If there's anything FastTrack or our Microsoft executives can support you on the project-related escalations, we are happy to help and here to support you. Product escalation is where our partners need our help usually. When there's a product-related escalation or issues, it is important to log a support ticket with our support team. Customer can also log a ticket through their Power Platform Administration Center. Our support team will gather the information, repro the behavior, and work with our product group to provide a fix. If it's a production outage, please log a Severity A ticket, and our support team will engage immediately to help you mitigate the issue and then bring your production system back up as quickly as possible. If FastTrack is engaged, we can certainly help expedite the support process. Therefore, I'm asking you to share the ticket with your solution architect or your FastTrack program manager. If it's a product-related issue and you are not getting any tractions from our support team, please also share the ticket number with us. We can certainly follow up for you to see if anything that we can do to expedite. For sales-related issues, anything related to licensing, discounts on license, FastTrack is not the right team to escalate it to. Therefore, we ask you to work with our Microsoft sales team to address the sales-related escalation. Hopefully, this is clear for all of you and help us to collaborate better throughout the engagement. My hope is that we are proactive enough in executing our workshops, identify the risks and issues where there's no escalations will occur. There are occasions we run into issues in the project that will get escalated to customer's executive, their CIO or the CEO. Happens. If that happens, we're here to support you as well. When the customer escalates to your team and your executives in your organization, FastTrack is actually here to help support you in this executive escalations. We will also bring our executives into the escalation with you when it's needed. When the escalation happens, you don't need to wait until our monthly sync to bring it up to us. You can reach out to us for an ad hoc meeting. We definitely want to support you to mitigate this escalation as quickly as possible, working with you and our customer. But we would like you to take lead in prepping us for the escalation. If we need to engage a Microsoft executive to help with the executive escalations, we would like you to prepare and share an executive summary with us ahead of time so we can prep our Microsoft executives on the escalation when we seek for their support. What we have seen from our previous engagements that these type of executive escalations are mainly product related. If it's a product related issue, please follow the product escalation process that I mentioned earlier to log a ticket and include the ticket information and the latest status ahead of the executive meeting. What we are hoping to do is to review those issues, align on the corrective measures, having the clarity on ownership and the clarity on the next step to mitigate the customer executive escalations as quickly as possible. FastTrack engagement ends when the customer is live and stable, typically 4 weeks after the go live. The FastTrack team is not a support team or an escalation team. Therefore, once we engage, all escalations and issues must go through the support organization. And the FastTrack program is no cost to our customers and to you as partners. What we are looking for are the positive experience while that we're working together throughout the engagement. So we would like to have our customer to participate in our customer reference program. So before we disengage, we will work with the customer to onboard them to the reference program. Roles and responsibilities. The FastTrack team has no intent or capacity to replace the implementation partner or perform any implementation activities. So here's the roles and responsibility for the customer, partner, and Microsoft. A few things is worth to emphasize. I'm not going to read through the entire slide. So the customer owns the overall program and project management and the outcome of the project. Since the project is critical to their success, they need to own up to it. For our partner owns all the implementation activity, working with the customer, and also collaborating with Microsoft, collaborating with FastTrack. FastTrack is here to provide the architecture guidance, help you with the onboarding activities, share the best practice that we have learned from other worldwide implementations. Alignment with other groups at Microsoft. FastTrack works with other groups at Microsoft. You might be working with the people from these teams already that you might not be aware of. CSS is our support organization. When you create a support ticket, CSS is the organization where our support engineers are in. They will be working with you on that support ticket. The Customer Success Manager. They mainly engage to help drive adoption and to provide change management guidance in the implementation. Their services are free. However, the CSM, the Customer Success Manager, only gets assigned on some of the strategic accounts and engagements. Customer engineers are part of the same organization as the Customer Success Manager. There are some offerings are recommended by us, like the detailed code review, the performance testing for our customer engagement apps, and FastTrack works with the customer engineer very closely on an engagement if the customer engineer is involved. One thing to point out is that customer engineers offering are not free. There's a cost associated to their engagement. One commercial partner, OCP. If you are our partner, you should have point of contacts in your organization that connects to our partner technical specialists or a partner development manager at Microsoft. They are there to provide their support on readiness and to support you to build up your capacity. I hope that I give you some ideas on the different teams that FastTrack is working with on a typical customer engagement. Let's talk about some of the best practices. When to ask FastTrack Solution Architect for support. So, as we talk about the FastTrack engagement model in this session, right? FastTrack is actually here to review some of the documentations and resources. Here are a few examples of what to ask a FastTrack Solution Architect. We saw on the roadmap a feature that looks like it will meet our requirements, but the timing may not align with our implementation. Can you help validate our requirements and propose a design against this roadmap feature? We have raised a support ticket for an issue that is having a critical impact to the project. Can you help ensure the right progress is made to minimize impact? You provided feedback about specific best practice we should follow, but we are finding it difficult to implement in our situation. Can we discuss? We are having a specific challenge on the project and would like to get FastTrack's help and feedback. Have you seen this with other customers? For our CE data migration, can you please provide telemetry data during our testing? These are examples on what you should be asking the FastTrack Solution Architect. What not to ask FastTrack Solution Architect? I don't know how to configure data export services to SQL or data lake. Can you help me? I have a ticket with support that is a bug or non-critical impact to the project timeline. Can you escalate? I have not researched, but this Power Automate flow is not doing what I wanted to do. I'm getting an error. Can you tell me what this error means? How to configure entities or new features? What license do I need for this scenario? These are the questions that you should not be asking your FastTrack solution architect. This concludes our sessions on the engagement model and project governance. If you have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat window. We're happy to answer the questions that you might have. Thank you, and have a nice day.